Welcome to the Green Podcast. My name is Dylan Welch. I'm the CEO of Green.org and Dylan Welch Media. Our goal with this podcast is to bring you the biggest names and leaders in renewable energy, clean technology, and sustainability so that you can stay up to date with the latest trends and everything that is happening in this world. Not only that, you'll get some action items for your life so that you can apply some amazing things and make your world a better place as well. Let's get the show started. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Green Podcast. Our goal is to bring you leaders, people in general around the world who are doing exciting things, helping the environment. And so I'm very excited to talk to a friend of Green.org today, Joshua Sam Miller. Joshua is a musician who recently released an album called Sounds of the Ocean, which has just been playing on my phone for the past few months, and I'm excited to sit down with Joshua and get to know him a little bit more and find his inspiration for the music that he's made. So Joshua, joining us all the way from Germany, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dylan. It's great to be here.
So let's kind of dive right into it. Just tell us about your background a little bit, because you've traveled, you've lived around the world, and you obviously, are a talented musician. So tell us kind of what was your initial start in the music industry?
Well, my initial start in the music industry was actually playing in symphony orchestras back in New York, where I'm from, on clarinet and bass clarinet, mostly bass clarinet. And those were all volunteer groups that I did kind of on the side, just because I loved to do it. I was working in television and film production at the time, so my days were very much filled with a lot of screen time and a lot of visual storytelling. And I was in an orchestra in Brooklyn, New York, that would meet on Monday nights every week and just go and play in an orchestra. And this was such a thrill, I have to tell you, to really feel the power of sound on that level from so many musicians all at once, I think was a very big influence on everything I'm doing now.
Did you kind of grow up in a musical household, or where did you sort of find this talent and passion for playing?
That's an interesting one, Dylan. I didn't actually grow up in such a musical household. My parents and sibling, very much fans of music, listening, and I experienced also the power of sound in that context as a listener through the nuclear family life that I was exposed to as a child. My father actually had speakers that were about 6 feet tall and 3 feet deep. So you can imagine being a kid standing next to those, how enormous they looked. And I remember, just sitting and listening to a lot of great records, as a kid, really building on that passion for having music to be a part of life. But the playing, this is really only me in the family. It's kind of a little bit of an inspiration from my grandmother. She was very musical, and I had an aunt who would often introduce me to new instruments on birthday celebrations, things like that. This was a very nice influence as a child. But really, my inspiration, I think, came from just wanting to have a good time with friends and make music, on the weekends and at night, and just see what we create together. So it was a very experimental approach throughout my life, and I kind of dabbled a little bit in percussion and wind instruments. That's my style. I like to blend the two together, and have kind of ebbed and flowed back and forth between instruments like clarinet and now saxophone, which I started playing about 2 years ago, and hand percussion, world percussion, and meditative percussion as well. So it's really kind of a left brain, right brain story.
Yeah, that's for sure. What instruments did you initially kind of start with? Like, did you take lessons for specific instruments, or did you just hang out with friends and jam until it all kind of came together? What was sort of the
Mm.
initial process of getting started in the music scene?
I actually did take some piano lessons as a kid, but I absolutely hated practicing. Um, that did not last very long, and I was, uh, I think, a bit rebellious. A bit more like, no, I want to do things my way. I wasn't so interested to learn written Western music. That was very hard for me to really sit down and focus on. And it really wasn't until I was in my 20s and decided to really step out of my comfort zone and go see the world and explore passions and interests that uh, just were not so available in my community growing up in America, that life brought me to incredible places like India and Portugal and Cuba, really with the focus on sound as uh, a way of being, I'd say. And those experiences, those trips, and the exposure to different cultures, beyond my own culture, I think gave me a perspective with music that was much more authentic for me to then pull inspiration from as a musician and as a creator and composer. And I got really into world lineages like West African percussion and Afro-Cuban percussion and Indian raga, both on the theory side and the classical composition side, and now kind of fuse it all together because that's been my experience. And artists, I think, pull from what we're exposed to and mirror it back to the world in a way that is authentic to us. And I guess that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you kind of like, you didn't just have this formal training and went right into it. You kind of learned yourself and figured out what you enjoyed and what you connected with, and gained all this different influence from around the world. I mean, I think that's how music should be. Granted, I'm not a musician, but I mean, in general, I think, that's how life should be, is you learn what you enjoy and where your passions are, and you get out of your comfort zone and you pull from different influences. You mentioned like the left brain, right brain. And I remember as a kid, my parents were kind of like, would you prefer to go more of like a musical route or more of like a sports route? And my brother and sister chose musical route, and so they took piano lessons and I went more of like sports route. And as I got older, I got so jealous because my brother and sister could just play the piano and sit down, and just did not have that skill at all. And I tried to learn, and it just kind of like, I just realized how hard and difficult it is, because it's almost like learning a new language or something. You're just working with these different parts of your brain that, unless you really practice it, like it just, it's these new areas that are not, sort of like twingling or whatever the word is. But I think that's really cool that you're able to sort of find what naturally comes to you and what you connect with, and then pull these different influences to create what you like. So, tell us a little bit about Sounds of the Ocean. I know, you put a lot of your heart and soul into it. So, where did sort of the concept and idea come for the album and everything that you've done with it?
That's a great question. I think, I never would have thought that the answer to the question, what kind of music do you play, uh, 10 years ago would be ocean music. That's uh that's definitely been a big surprise that life has given me, and I absolutely love it. It's so inspiring for me to get to play live music, and now doing a lot of studio recordings with really amazing recordings from the depths of the sea. That's really what Sounds of the Ocean is all about. It's combining what animals have to say, whales and dolphins, most specifically, and really letting them be the lead singers of the band and play a supportive role to help people uh, be able to really listen to those conversations and have a little bit of assistance for our own minds to just be present and be willing to sit and have that listening experience. Because when I started working with these recordings, which all come from the coast of California in Monterey at a ocean research center called the Monterey Bay Aquatic Research Institute. That was about 3 years ago. And when I started working with the recordings, I noticed for myself, it was kind of hard to just sit and listen to dolphin sound or whale song or the sounds of waves crashing without either getting a little bit distracted or tired or sometimes even a little bit bored. And I realized that music has the potential to help people work through that, and it really started with myself. So I started to really select instruments that have some connection to the ocean. I started with the conch shell, of course, that comes from the Atlantic, and then mixed in instruments like the water drum and some shells as a background shaker, and started to weave in these different musical lineages that I had studied, particularly in the field of music therapy and music as a mindful tool to just help people receive the magic of what it sounds like underwater. And it really is magic. I have to tell you, it takes me to a new environment every time I play a Sounds of the Ocean concert, and it's never the same twice. It really isn't.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh no. So I'd say the project has taken many turns over the years, but I love starting out talking about it as a music project because that's really how it started. And as time has progressed over these last 3 years, now we've become a full immersive experience with both visuals and audio to support you to be transported into the sea. And we're super excited about this. We have a beautiful show that's designed for planetariums and full dome theaters for people to come and either lie down or sit in comfortable chairs with really good sound and really good visuals and be able to just see where they go, I'd say, is the best way to describe what the live experience is like, because it's really different for everyone. And some people tell me it's the most relaxed they've ever felt. Some people tell me they feel like they're scuba diving, which was a huge influence of mine in creating the show, and many, many, many other pieces of good feedback. And we're currently in the final phases of finishing a feature film that will come out next year and be available in theaters around the world for people to have the experience that we've created. And we're super excited about it.
Yeah, good for you, man. I mean, I think there's something very universal about just, being by the ocean and listening to the waves, and you can't help just go and like put your phone down, and if you close your eyes, like it takes you to another place. I did that just the other day. I was having a stressful day and walked down to the ocean, and I put a 5-minute timer on my phone, and I just like put everything down and listened, and it just calms you down. And another thing that you brought up was like the experience of scuba diving, and I love to scuba dive. It's one of my favorite activities to do, and you just feel like you're transported into an entire different universe. And not everyone has the opportunity to go scuba diving, and so to sort of give someone that experience is really cool, and I try to get everyone I possibly can to go scuba diving with me. I know some people just don't like it, but yeah, when you can experience that, it's a really beautiful thing. So I'm excited to hear about or kind of see the feature length movie. What's kind of the concept and plan behind that?
Well, actually exactly what you just said was a big part of the concept and plan behind the film, because I realized, I'd say on some of my travels, that the places that I got to go as a scuba diver when I was a kid just aren't as vibrant as they used to be. That was another big inspiration for this project, was my own experience on the conservation side, really seeing the impact that we've had as humans, on the planet. And I too encourage anyone who's interested to go scuba dive and explore it and see how it makes you feel. Do it with a good operator in a sustainable way. Be careful, be aware of your surroundings, and try not to touch too much stuff. As little as possible, really. Leave no trace, but go for it. Give it a shot. But that's a fraction of the population right there, of people who will ever go diving for many reasons. And a big part of our concept with this experience is, how do we bring the feeling of diving, the experience, into more urban spaces where people might not have the access, to the ocean or to a lake in order to be able to, to go and dive, and try and grow this beautiful, beautiful sport and hobby and experience of diving up in a more sustainable way, and allow people to feel connection to ocean life that they probably wouldn't get on their own experience, because, as you probably know, you never know what you're going to see underwater. And you go on a whale watching trip, you might not see any whales. It's not a guarantee. You really have to be just open to have the experience. But with this show and with this film, we've been so blessed to receive the best footage from filmmakers around the world who've devoted their life to really spend time with cetaceans. One of which actually lives in San Diego. His name is Howard Hall, and he and his wife run a company that we've worked with on this project to receive absolutely incredible, heart-touching footage of humpback whales, of blue whales, of sperm whales, and the ocean really as the star. And there's something magical about, I think, being in close connection with these species. That's another bit of feedback that I've received from some of our audience members, is that they feel like they have a personal connection with these these animals, and that there's a way of communicating that is hard to describe in words, but is a felt sense. And on all of the whale watching adventures I've been on, I totally remember the feeling of seeing an actual whale and what it does to you. And it is just incredible. And I really think that's a big part of what we're trying to recreate, as best we can, with the immersive technology and really powerful audiovisual experiences that take a person, to those depths that they might not otherwise be able to access, and also invite them inwards to themselves, to, as you just described so well, I'm so happy you do this, slow down, to turn off their minds, to put away the phone, and really be present with the real world and what's going on. And I would hope that anyone who comes to a Sounds of the Ocean concert or experiences the film is inspired to take more time in their life to do that, and to go to the ocean and just sit and listen, or to a park if you're in a more inland community, and take time in any natural environment. So I really hope that this can be a guide for people who are not yet connected with that as a practice in their life, to develop the permission, and the motivation to build more of those nature-based experiences into the daily life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to check it out. Scuba diving and just being by the ocean is such a three-dimensional, multi-sense experience that it's hard to capture it, just on a screen. So to bring the music and sort of that immersive experience is going to be something that I can imagine, inspires a lot of people who don't have the opportunity like we have to, go scuba diving or be by the ocean every single day. Joshua, what's kind of like your next plan? Do you have another project sort of in the works, or is your main focus still bringing sounds of the ocean to as many people, or do you have other things that you're working on? Like, I'm just curious, sort of what's next on the horizon for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd say for the moment, Sounds of the Ocean really is my focus and the focus of my company, which is called Embodied Sounds. And separate from that, I also record music for uh, different channels and collaborate with artists as instrumentalists and music producer to, be always working the creative muscles and coming up with new ideas. So working on a few albums right now with some collaborators that will come out next year, which I'm super excited about, and just keeping present and focused on building this multidisciplinary project, which does take a lot of time and effort. So we've got yeah, good amount of work ahead of us on the ocean front, and also as a part of that, connecting with other nonprofits and ocean charities. We always support local charities whenever we perform, and either invite people to do a beach cleanup or give a chapter the space to speak at our events, and when possible fundraise for them as well. So I'm super motivated about staying focused on this ocean awareness mission right now and seeing where that takes me. I was at the COP27 conference this year, and heard about a lot of solutions, and also learned a lot about the problems that we're facing as a global community. And if we don't put the ocean as, I think, one of the top 10 priorities, if not the top priority, we won't be able to solve a lot of the problems that we need to solve to slow the spread of climate change. And this is a big part of my focus over the next couple of years, to really see how I, as an artist and social impact entrepreneur, can really do the most that I can do to support those issues.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing that you're able to kind of find a way to bring awareness and get people inspired about a huge issue that we're facing, which is conservation of the ocean. But you also are able to do it on a very personal level to make it sort of an intimate experience for every single listener, which is not something, everyone has the ability to do. And I think really, music and sort of visual arts may be the only way to do that. So
Mm.
I think it's really cool. I love listening to Sounds of the Ocean. And if you're listening to this podcast, I highly suggest and really encourage you to go check out Sounds of the Ocean. Visit soundsoftheocean.com, support Joshua. Joshua, are there any areas where we can kind of listen or see a concert or keep an eye out for the feature film to come out?
Yeah, the best place to go for that will be on the website, and we have a email sign up for the newsletter that will keep you in the know. We're working on the live tour schedule for next year, and just in process of figuring out where the film will have its premiere and be distributed. But signing up for the info on the website, and if you really want to support us even further, consider downloading the album off the website, which will go directly to support one of our conservation partners called Oceanic Global, with that download as a donation to their amazing work. And yeah, just connect with us on social media. We're very active on Instagram and LinkedIn as the two main channels. So we'd love to hear from you and hear your ideas. If you want to have us come to your community, send us a message and we'll try and make it happen.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, hopefully we'll have you out here in San Diego soon enough.
Amazing. I can't wait.
Joshua, thank you so much for being here and everything you're doing. Again, you kind of embody everything that we're trying to do with the Green Podcast, which is, keep an eye on the bigger picture problems that we're facing in the world, but also just give sort of individual ways to be active. And one thing I do think is a part of being active is sort of finding that mental health within yourself, because if you can find that peace within yourself, then you can really start to give back. And I think one of those ways to do that is through, mental health, meditation, listening to music. So to be able to combine those things is really amazing. So I want to thank you. Obviously, this has taken years of your time and effort to put together, and I know you're going to have a positive impact on a lot of people, and the ocean and the planet as a whole. So I want to thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for taking some time out of your day to be with us here at the Green Podcast.
Thank you, Dylan, and right back at you. Super inspired by your work in hosting this show and everything you do for green.org. So thank you for having us, and I look forward to hear people's feedback on this conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Joshua. And to everyone listening who supports green.org, the Green Summit, the Green Podcast, please go visit soundsoftheocean.com. Our goal is to bring you leaders and people who are inspiring around the world in the sustainability space. And we want you to support them as much as possible. Again, visit soundsoftheocean.com, support Joshua, sign up for his newsletter. And, hopefully you'll be able to experience that immersive process and get inspired. So thank you to everyone who tuned into the episode today. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Green Podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning into the episode. My name is Dylan Welch. Appreciate it. As always, stay up to date with the latest information on green.org and dylanwelch.com. Dylan Welch Media is a full-service media and communications agency dedicated to promoting, marketing, and helping businesses in clean tech, renewable energy, and sustainability grow, get more clients, get more customers, get in front of their ideal clientele. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. If you're interested in joining the Green Summit, go to www.green-summit.org. Reserve your ticket today. There's very few spots left, so make sure you get on that ASAP. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.